Hi, I'm James Bobin, the director of Dora the Explorer. I think after 20 years of being around, she's gone beyond just being a TV show. She's kind of a cultural icon, and I think at that point, you can appeal to all sorts of people who don't necessarily know the TV show that well, and so it's kind of something you recognise from people's T-shirts or lunchboxes, and so she exists. So I think people who haven't actually seen the TV show still know who Dora is and what she represents and the kind of person she is. And I thought that what's a fun idea is to take that character, but make it play for everyone who's ever seen her. So that people who watched it when they were 4, when they were young, are now 24. So like the Muppets movies I made, I want to make this film for a family audience, everybody, that I can watch with my kids. My kids are 11, 9 and 6, and I watch a film with them, and they love it, and I love it, but possibly for different reasons. I like it for clever wordplay, and they like it for things falling over and blowing up, and so we can kind of enjoy it at the same time, but probably for different reasons. And I thought you could apply the same kind of technique to Dora. And Dora felt like a character you would know and enjoy being with, but you could also do quite clever stuff with it, playing with the meta idea of there being a film of Dora the Explorer. The whole point of Dora, the film, is that Dora has not changed between the ages of 6 and 16 when we meet her. And it was very much the idea that, in a way, is charming and endearing because she has such great qualities of being smart and positive and brave. But to a degree, she's a bit socially inept and she hasn't really got any friends that aren't monkeys. And so she's very unlike most of the teenagers today who tend to be slightly more, so we say, aware of themselves in a sort of social media sense and a sense of the world around them, but only through a screen, whereas Dora's very much about experiencing the world through your own eyes and stuff. So we thought it'd be fun to take the character of Dora as she is in the cartoon, make her 16 and the same, but put her in the real world and then see in a sort of fish out of water way how that would work. High school's hard, I think. I mean, we all remember our school days, and it's tough. It's like, there's all sorts of unwritten rules you don't know about, and there's all sorts of day-to-day tests and situations you find yourselves in where you're not sure to go with these things. Whereas Dora, of course, coming into it from a world whereby she hasn't hung out with other kids before, has no idea really. She's very oblivious to it all, which is quite charming in a way, because obviously you want your kids not to care what other people think of them, and Dora really doesn't care what anyone else thinks. But at the same time, you kind of need friends in your life to be socially able and to interact with the world, because the world, as their mum says to her, the world's out there to explore and make friends. That's real exploring. I think that's quite an important message for Dora to learn in this film, is that it's great being by yourself and being confident, but at the same time, the world's about other people too. And so it's about making friends, which is very much the theme of the movie. Dora's very a pure character. She really is who she is. She's true to herself, which is great. And obviously that's very endearing and charming. But it's also funny, because obviously there are a lot of things in the world that you don't explain to people, they just are. But Dora very much questions those things all the time, like, why is this the way it is? And, she seems nice. And you go, well, she's not nice, she's a horrible, horrible person. Just you don't know because you've not been in the world. You don't understand the nuance of language or of social situations, particularly amongst teenagers, where there's so many unwritten rules about what you can and can't do, what's in, what's out, what's cool, what's not cool. But Dora doesn't care about that. But she asked Diego, why is this the way the world is? And he has to explain to her, these are the rules of school. This is what happens at school. You have to behave like this, otherwise you're never going to fit in. Because Diego's all about fitting in. When Dora says, well, why do I have to fit in? Like, why can't I just be myself? It is important to know yourself. And that's what Dora really does. And that's very important. He's much more worried about what he looks like, which I think, and he's sort of forgotten it. And I think in the journey with her, he kind of reconnects that part of himself, whereby he remembers his childhood, he remembers the world of wonder, of like how amazing nature is and how beautiful it is and how it's good to experience things firsthand rather than just through a lens. Diego himself is trying to fit in, so he's a bit of an outsider. But the team that she ends up with are all outsiders. Sammy is just the smartest girl at school and therefore has got no friends really. And then Randy is a guy who's just kind of on the edge and is just an unpopular kid. And so she happens to end up with these 4 kids as her group who are all outsiders, like she is in a way. So that's kind of what's great is they find each other. And so the film ends with a kind of routine of song and dance about being friends, because it's that thing about, you don't have to have 100 friends. Having 2 friends is pretty good. So that's enough. And these are 4 friends, which is great. And they get on and they learn that they have a similar sensibility at the end, because they have an equal, through Dora, they kind of learn to connect with the world again. Dora's relationship with her family is quite a complicated one, because of course she's grown up with her parents, both of whom are anthropologists slash archaeologists, professors basically, very smart. And so I think they've obviously taught her very much an academic life of, she knows a lot of stuff. She knows a lot of stuff about facts and about the world and about, but I think emotionally as a kid, it's, you know, it's great to go out with your parents and, you know, that's fine. But it's your peers that really matter in some ways and help to shape and mold you to a degree. And Dora has had none of that because all she's had is her parents and then a monkey who kind of is her friend, but is a real monkey. So how much of a friend can a real monkey ever be to you at 16? So it's really a question of, you know, Dora's missed out on those useful kind of nudges and, you know, the ways that friends inform you of how you're behaving, how you should behave, all that sort of stuff, which is quite a, it's interaction, it's useful interaction. And she never had that. And so I think that's how she ends up how she is, which is a slightly unusual character. You like her because you feel sorry for her because she's always trying her best. And I think that's a very positive thing about Dora. And Isabela really brings that sense of emotion to it, that she can really make you care about the character because she's so winning and so charming. And she's kind of the engine of the whole film. And so in every scene she's in, she kind of lights it up and it just makes it move forward. And she's just such a ball of energy. It just carries you through an hour and a half of fun being with this character you really like. Because you kind of know who Dora is, a bit from the TV show. But then Bella just adds to that by being her effervescent self and like the most positive, upbeat person ever. Eugenio Derbez plays Alejandro, who is a fantastic comedian and a brilliant actor, and we love him as that character. He's really fun, and he and Isabela work very well together because they're kind of a key part of the movie. And then, of course, as her parents, we have Michael Peña and Longoria, and both of them are, again, all comedy back. You know, notice a theme here. I basically like hiring comedians to populate the entire film because there's no, if you have a very fun, architectural, strong story, there's no reason not to have comedians in every single role because they always bring something fun. And you know, Michael and Eva and Eugenio are very good at improvisation, which for me is quite important. We have the script, and that's the script, we have that. But it's always fun to get them together and just try stuff out, and they did a great job with that. And you'll see in the film there's quite a lot of that in there now. But it's really fun, and it gives a lot of energy to it, and they're all really funny people. I found Jeff as a naturally sympathetic, lovely kid who you just like him, like just being with him, you like him, and that is really important for Diego because Diego doesn't always say nicest stuff to Dora, especially at the beginning. They become friends again, but at the beginning he's quite mean to her. So I didn't want people not to like Diego, so I had to get a guy you'd like despite his nature, and Jeff really nailed that, and so he was just fantastic. Certainly when I met Maddie, I felt that she had this kind of intensity about her. Again, it's that thing whereby with Sammy, you don't not to like her because it's important that she's a character you're going to follow through. But at the same time, she isn't not very nice to Dora at the beginning. She really doesn't like Dora because she's a threat. And so she really, you know, hones in on her in a way. And Dora's got no idea what's going on because she doesn't know of the world. So that was kind of, Maddie just played that so beautifully. Nick, I just thought was a funny person. Nick was just like, Randy's a kind of a slightly oblivious guy. He knows he's not popular at school, and he does care, but not enough to do anything about it, which is kind of great. And so he was very much the sort of person that would just like Dora because Dora is an interesting person, and he's a bit like him. I grew up on in films like Goonies and Indiana Jones and that sort of world of action and also adventure action whereby it has a historical basis. So I love films whereby the actual genesis of the actual story is possibly true. Like, you know, the first Raiders Lost Ark is based on the Ark of the Covenant, which is a real thing. Anything with the Bible, you go, oh my God, it could be true. It could be a real thing. And so in this thing, it's very much about a lost city of the Inca Empire, which again, we did some research and this is a real thing. There are lost cities. You know, lost cities, Zeb's a real place that people would kind of find. And so I love the idea. For me, Dora is it is an educational show, no doubt, and so this film is vaguely educational because I think if you really like Inca, you could study them because of this film. Because I think we try to stay true to the idea of what Dora's parents are looking for is a real thing, and so when Dora goes on the adventure, she tries to find a real thing, but at the same time, it's a great excuse to create a lot of mythology and you know, the idea that these things could be real. That she goes to places where a thing like a jungle puzzle is true. Which is a really fun idea to me. Is, you know, the part of the magic of life is what's the sort of, especially for kids, it's like where's the real magic in the world these days? Dora is incredibly intelligent and she does study, and so she knows a lot about and she lives in the Amazon, so she knows a lot about the flora and fauna of the area she's in, so all that is all correct, but also the history of the area. And the history of the area is largely, especially towards the Peruvian part of the Amazon, is Inca. And Inca, of course, and Peru still has an own native language called Quechua, which is a completely different language to Spanish. It's a very original, indigenous Inca language. And so we thought it'd be fun if Dora just speaks this. She just knows Quechua, which is quite not, it's spoken still today, and so it is around, but it's quite unusual to have it. And it's a fun idea that she just knows it. When you say Dora, people have certain expectations about what it's going to be. They often think it's going to be animated, so I'm very keen to say it's not animated, it's live action. They think it's for young people. It's not just for kids. It's for everybody. And it's a comedy adventure. And it's comedy with a capital C adventure. So it's a comedy, really. It's why I populated the entire film with just comedians playing all the actors. All the actors are comedians, basically. And so I feel that it's going to be that thing whereby it's going to surprise people about what it is, which is really fun. The film is incredibly diverse. We have an incredibly international, not only cast, but crew. Like my designer was from New Zealand, my cinematographer was from Spain, there's a lot of Spanish spoken on set, my cast was virtually entirely Latin, I'm English, and so we had a very international feel to it, which is great, because Dora is international. And Dora is about language, and about in cultural intelligence and exchanges and exchange of ideas, and so I really felt that's incredibly important to me, that it mirrored the real world.
Hey, it's Lisa. Did you know that the largest number of fatalities ever in a production of a film occurred during the shooting of the 1931 film Viking? 27 people died, including the director and cinematographer, when a ship they were shooting from exploded in the ice off the coast of Newfoundland. Do you like my shirt? You can get one for yourself in the link in the description.